All right, what is up, my friends? Welcome to the Modern Horizons 2 set review, complete set review. Every card, limited, constructed. We're going over it all right? And we did white, black, and blue, and now we're doing red. Anything you missed to be on YouTube, go check it out, of course. If you're watching on YouTube, please take a second, like the video, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell. These are all free, very simple, easy things you can do to support me for free. And if you want to pay money, you can join the membership thing too. But definitely, please do those. Helps me a ton. Leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. All right. I want to remind everyone that Mog Monday Showdown is this Monday, coming up Monday the 8th, Monday the 7th. Monday the 7th, Aspiring Spike versus me, Goblins versus Spike's Modern Brews. And then next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're doing 10 new brews for Modern Horizons. 10 complete leagues of Modern all week next week. Check it out, of course, all right? Let's do red. Let's get going here with Arcbound Slasher. 7 mana. I just can't do math. Or read, apparently. 5 mana for a artifact creature. It's 0/0 with modular 4 and Riot. So one of the fun things about Modern Horizons and Time Spiral is when you get to see mechanics from different blocks coming together to form weird synergies. So modular, of course, when it dies, you can move the counters to a different artifact creature. And then Riot, the mechanic where you get to choose haste or a +1/+1 counter. So really, really cool use of the dual mechanics here. You get a 4/4 modular with haste for 5 or a 5/5 modular for 5, both of which are very good. I mean, if this creature dies and you move all its power to something else, that's super awesome. If it's another modular creature, you can move it somewhere else again. This has got to be a phenomenal limited card. It's got to be a really, really good limited card. Great curve topper for your modular deck. It's aggressive. It's powerful. I think this card's awesome. Great, great draft card. Up next is Arcbound Tracker, which is done by the same artist and looks exactly the same as the last card. 3 mana for a Menace modular. Whenever you cast a spell other than your first spell each turn, put a counter on Arcbound Tracker. That's a mechanic you've never seen before, right? Whenever you cast a spell other than your first spell each turn, so your second spell, third spell, fourth spell, you put a counter on. That's actually really good. It'll depend on how much like velocity there is in the format and index and stuff, but a 2/2 Menace modular for 3 is already reasonable, and you get to add more counters to this. That's pretty impressive. Pretty solid card here. Of course, modular being the mechanic for red and white, most likely, kind of an artifacty, themed, aggressive stuff. That's pretty cool. Pretty good comment, honestly. So two pretty good modular comments to start out. And then we get Arcbound Whelp, which is a uncommon 4 mana 2/2 flyer with modular and the fire breathing ability. Typically a good draft card. It wears modular counters well. If it dies, it moves around. It flies. It pumps. Just solid draft card. Not amazing. I feel like the 2/2 flyer for 4 has, a little bit of a relic of Magic's past, but still a solid card. Furnace Whelp, of course, the callback. Well, the Furnace Whelp was a 2/3, I believe. But cool card. Cool card. Up next is Battle Plan. Of course, basic land cycling, a little bit of a thing in the set. A little mana fixing. This one's not as good as the other ones. The blue one was draw 3 cards. The black one was kill a creature. This is an enchantment that says at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature gets +2/+0 end of turn. It's actually not bad as an enchantment. I misread it as a spell for some reason. Sort of like a Battle Rattle Shaman. Does cost 4, which is a lot. And it's also not a creature either. But if you're looking to like pump up your tokens in attack, I don't know. It doesn't seem very good, honestly. It seems like it's kind of eh. It's okay to break a stall. It's a mana fixer. Just kind of like eh. I don't know. Not super pumped. Not super pumped for this one. And then we have Blazing Rootwalla. So we have the new, better version of Basking Rootwalla, which it is. Of course, it is red instead of green. 1 mana for a 1/1. Has Madness 0, which is awesome. And you pay only 1. Basking Rootwalla was 2 mana for +2/+2. This is 1 red for +2/+0. So only power, but much cheaper and more efficient. Rootwallas are really good. They require a certain scenario. Obviously, in Vintage, Bizarre Baghdad, busted. Vengevine, possible, thing for this. But if it was a Madness deck, it wants this card probably. Very solid 1-drop. Very cool card. I like it a lot. Someone mentioned in the chat that this is an enchantment for Delirium. That's very fair. Super cool card. Will it see play in Modern? Probably not. There would need to be some sort of like serious madness stuff going on to be reasonable, because a 1/1 for 1 that, you know, taps to whatever, that adds 2 power, it's a little mem-nighty, I guess, but you need some sort of extra value to make it really good, I think. But it's a possibility for sure. The rate is there for the most part. In limited, it's a very solid card, solid 1-drop. Yeah, hollow one maybe. You know, we're discarding cards for hollow one and playing Root Walla if you want to go wide. It's certainly, the power level's there. I mean, to think that the flexibility and the reality of a Madness 0 card is very, very real. So just being able to get free value off of your discard, yeah, Vengevine, etc., definitely has solid potential to see play. Cool card, like it a lot. Cool throwback, pretty sweet card, like it a lot. Up next is Bloodbraid Marauder, 2 mana for a 3/1, can't block, and it has Delirium Cascade. So this is the first ever card in Magic's history with Cascade on a 2-drop. But Delirium is not an easy thing to accomplish. You know, Delirium is pretty serious. It also can't block. So a lot of downside on this. You know, a lot of work to do. Delirium is a real thing. Not being able to block is a real thing. Makes it more of an aggro card for sure. You're also cascading into 1-drops. So you can be a little more careful about what you're cascading into. Whether it's a 0 mana spell or a 1 mana spell. Say you have all like Lava Spikes, Lightning Bolts in your deck, you can get one every time, which is kind of cool. The way decks were built back in Shards of Alara Block Constructed, that Pro Tour was like Pro Tour Cascade, basically. And people were playing decks where you'd cascade into Lightning or Esper Charm every time, or whatever. You know, like there only were so many cards to cascade into, which is kind of cool. So, and then in Living End, the problem is like, you need to have Delirium. So like, how are you getting an artifact and enchantment in your graveyard kind of thing, you know? So, this card seems cool, but don't underestimate how difficult it is to get Delirium early and consistently. And then don't underestimate how bad Delirium enablers are to cascade into. So it's cool, it's cute. I don't think this card is going to be that impactful. It's just a lot of things need to happen, and the payout isn't super great anyway. So, and then Limited, just a solid card. If you ever cascade with it, it's pretty cool. I guess like in Limited, there aren't many 1-mana things to cascade into. But that's kind of the thing. It's like Cascade for 1's like almost bad because you don't play many 1-drops typically, you know. So it's interesting. Definitely an interesting card. Brea's Apprentice, 3 mana for a 2/3 artifact creature. Comes into play, make a Thopter, which is pretty solid. Tap, sacrifice an artifact. You get to exile your top card until the end of your next turn. You can play it, or target gets +2/+0. This card's freaking awesome. Is it good enough for Modern? No, probably not. But this card's probably going to my cube. I have a pretty serious artifact theme in my cube, and a 2/3 artifact creature.
Watch on YouTube, but converting Twitch sub to YouTube join would mean losing a streak. So Twitch sub lives on.
That's the resub, W. Appreciate it. So this is a 2/3 artifact creature plus a 1/1 Thopter for 3 mana. So 2 permanents, 3 power over 2 bodies with evasion, and you can just sack random artifacts to like light up a stage top card of your deck, which is awesome. That's really cool, and it can pump things. A lot of things this card can do. Reminds me a bit of Sean, Pianalar, which was a solid card, but held back because itself wasn't an artifact. This being an artifact and making an artifact is really important, because if you're playing artifact synergy stuff, having 2 artifacts for 1 card is awesome. I like this card a lot. I like this card's really, really cool. It's, again, probably not quite good enough for Modern. Just not sure what deck would actively want this card, but it is a good card, and I'm going to play it in my queue probably. I like it a lot. It's really, really cool. It has a lot of things. Great limited card. Phenomenal limited card. But super, super cool card. I like it a lot. Very, very cool. This is the kind of card that excites me in these sets, where like it's a really fun, powerful card. That's probably like too good for Standard, but it's fun seeing like it exists for Cube and stuff like that, even though it might not be good enough for Modern. It's like that middle ground. I'd love to see this card in Historic. I think this card could see play in Historic. I think Historic is weak enough where this card could see play. Pretty cool. Pretty exciting. Up next is Calibrated Blast. We have 3 mana for an instant. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land card. Put the revealed card on the bottom of your library in a random order. When you reveal a non-land card this way, it deals damage equal to that card's mana value to any target, and it has flashback. So, Erratic Explosion was a card that saw a lot of play in Extended way back in the day. Draco Explosion. Draco is the magic card with the highest converted mana cost at 16. And the combo deck would literally like try and like bolt you once, hope you crack a fetch land, and they would try and get Draco on top of their deck, and then cast the sorcery Erratic Explosion, which is just this card as a sorcery. So this being an instant and having flashback is pretty cool. But again, I mean, it's a combo that only deals 16 damage. And back in the day, that was pretty good, but probably not good enough anymore. It's cute, though. It's cute. I mean, Draco is not legal in Modern, but Emrakul is, of course. So, there isn't really Brainstorm or anything either. So, I don't know. It's kind of cute, obviously. Cards like this are the reason why they don't put the number 20 on cards, because obviously you just 20 your opponent and kill them. If they printed a card that cost 20, like a card that was just like a 10/10 for 20 mana or whatever, that card would be broken with cards like this. So, probably not good enough, but it's cute. It's certainly cute. Fun card to have access to. Definitely in limited, reasonable enough, but it's fun little callback. Captain Ripley Vance. 2 mana for a legendary pirate. 3/2. Whenever you cast your third spell each turn, put a counter on it, and then it deals damage, equals power to any target. That's pretty powerful, assuming you can play multiple spells. Again, not good enough in Modern, obviously, but pretty solid draft card. Ah, yes, I see it. Vance's Blasting Cannons. Now I get it. It's funny because like the newer references aren't as good for me as the old ones were, but that's pretty funny. I mean, third spell on a turn's a lot, but if you get to do it though, you get to deal 4 damage to one of your opponent's things, or even your opponent, which is pretty powerful. So cool draft card. Definitely a little weird. 3 spells is a lot, but it's cool. Not very synergistic. Not very synergistic with other pirates, but a lot of speaking in these set reviews, man. A lot of speaking. All right, moving on. Chef's Kiss. Red 1 instant. Gain control of target spell that targets only a single permanent or player. Copy it. Then reselect the targets at random for the spell and the copy. The new targets can't be you or a permanent you control. Okay, so they lava spike you and you get to just nug them for 6, I guess. Like, what's the really weird card? It's really powerful. I mean, gain control of target spell. It targets only a single permanent player. I mean, you could like play your own spells, obviously. I was not sure what like it does look really powerful, right? Like the problem is that it just costs red 1, and like when are we casting this card ever? You know, you like thought seize them back or whatever or stuff like that. But I don't really think that this is reasonable. Chef's Kiss is just like an expression for like, you know, if something's really, really good, you know, a chef puts all the work into a plate, and here's the plate, and they say, enjoy. It's like I think it's an Italian thing, but yeah, I mean, yeah, Modern already has Dual Caster Mage or whatever, or maybe Historic does. I don't even know, but it can steal your opponent's Planeswalker. That is true. Can it? No, it can't. It doesn't target. Yeah, I don't really know, honestly. It's just a really weird card. It's probably good in limited, because if you just like take their kill spell, you just blow them out. So, but I don't know what it does in constructed, honestly. Whatever we're gonna do. Next up is Dragon's Rage Channeler. 1 red for a 1/1 human shaman. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Surveil 1, which is pretty real. That's a pretty real effect. Scrying is already good. Surveil is better. Puts cards in the graveyard and so on and so forth. Then it has Delirium. As long as there are 4 or more cards, 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard, it gets +2/+2 flying and has to attack each turn. So sort of like a Delirium-y Delver of Secrets. People are very, very high on this card. Once again, it is not easy to get Delirium without playing a lot of cards that are substandard. Obviously, we're playing Lurrus or playing Mishra's Bauble already. It's kind of cool. You can't play cards like Tarfire, Thought Scour, or whatever. Again, it is a little weird for a red card to Surveil for sure. The starting point of this card being a 1/1 for 1 is like not super great. It is a 1-drop though. It has the potential for to be a 3/3 with flying, which is pretty powerful. I'd love it if it had haste. If it gained flying and haste for Delirium, so it'd be better later in the game. I think that'd be really, really powerful. But Yeah, it's a solid card. I know people are very high on this card, but it plays awkwardly with delve stuff. It can help you get Delirium slowly. You need to put the Delirium-esque cards into your deck, you know? So, yeah, decks like Jund Shadow that are already playing Traverse card's kind of cool. Having to attack isn't super cool, but it's a solid card. It's a very weird card. I know I tried to do Delirium stuff a lot when that was legal and standard, and it's a lot more challenging than it looks to consistently get Delirium. You can get Delirium, but like in order to get it consistently all the time, it's difficult. It's difficult. So I think the card's pretty good. I'm not huge on it. In limited, definitely a reasonable card, but Laz, Resub, thanks so much. Also Livid and W, thank you so much. 3/3 flying haste for 1. I mean, if you have Delirium, you know, that's the thing. It's like, yeah, it sounds like that, but it's not that. It's, you know, you have to have Delirium. So, and the thing is, like, it's only going to be relevant like a little later on. So that's pretty good. But yeah, I think that like, so what chat's saying, I'm going to build a lot of bad decks with this. Exactly. You know, it's like the thing is that like you can make this card good. The question is your deck good now, like, or even playable because you spent the time making this card good? You know, Bauble, Fetch Land, Thought Scour. What about the games you don't draw Bauble? You know, that's the thing. It's like, what about the games where it doesn't work? You know, so the question is the fail state of this good enough? That's the big question you need to answer. And is it worth building around knowing that fail state? If it is, it's a pretty good card, but definitely cool. It's probably better than Delver in Modern, but that's not saying much. So up next is Faithless Salvaging. 2 mana for an instant. Discard a card, then draw a card. Rebound. This card is pretty exciting with Arclight Phoenix. The ability to play this in their end step, rummage a card, unsap, rebound for a free spell on your turn that didn't cost mana, then discard, then play spell, and play Arclight is pretty cool. It's no Faithless Looting. All right, definitely no Faithless Looting. And rummaging is only good, essentially, if you're like really discarding stuff. It's a possibility. It's not very exciting, you know. But the idea of going salvaging on 2, next turn rebound, spell, Arclights is kind of cool. But I don't know. It's interesting. In limited, it's a good madness enabler, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, not super exciting. Probably not good enough. It is cool madness. For sure, because you can madness on your turn without paying mana for it, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, not super exciting. If you like cast this in limited, discard the wall the first time. So right, and the turn 3 Phoenixes are also not super exciting either. So probably not good enough, but it's cool. I'll try it out. All right, 1 mana this card's bonkers at 1 mana for sure. Yeah.
Somebody's playing a prank on me.
Too fast. Too furious. Fast is 3 mana instant, discard a card, then draw 2 cards. So it's like a bad catalog. And furious is 5 mana, deals 3 damage to each creature without flying. This card's pretty bad. It's like a draft card. Whatever. What do you need? Ruins on my background too. Stupid split cards. Flame Blitz, 1 red enchantment. Beginning of your end step, deals 5 damage to each planeswalker. This card is better in limited than it is constructed, for the simple fact that it is cycling enchantment for Delirium. Enchantment is one of the best types for Delirium because it's so hard to get in the graveyard. So like, if you're playing a Delirium draft deck, this is the perfect enabler for you. Just 2 mana, cycle, draw a card, put enchantment in the graveyard. Cool hate card for planeswalkers, obviously. Planeswalkers aren't played like that much in Modern, and the decks that play planeswalkers are typically not super exciting against red decks anyway. So yeah, so like it's kind of a cool card to exist if like walkers get too good or whatever. But I mean, I don't think it's really that big of a problem. So it's cool. And again, in limited, if you want Delirium, this is your card. Flame Tongue Yearling. Red for a 2/1 with multi-kicker. So you can play the kicker toss as many times as you want. Enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each multi-kick. So it's a 2/1 for 2 a 3/2 for 4, a 4/3 for 6, and so on. When it comes into play, deals damage equal to its power to target creature. That's pretty good. So it's a 2-mana fire imp, basically. So they play a Goblin Guide, you cast Yearling, kill their Goblin Guide, and have a 2/1. That's pretty good by itself. If this card cost a red and 1, I think this card would be like really, really good. At red, obviously, it's much more limited. But this card is just like pretty solid creature matchups. Is there a deck that wants this card? Probably not, honestly. I could see it being a target for like Imperial Recruiter and Friends. Spoiler. But yeah, kind of a cool card. Definitely insane limited card, possible cube card. But realistically, I'm just not sure what deck wants this in Modern. If it dealt damage to face or Planeswalkers, we're talking busted. Great card here. But yeah, you also can't play it on an empty board, just like a Flame Tongue combo, which is kind of cool. So Flame Tongue Yearling, busted limited card though. Busted limited card. Fury. We come to the red pitch incarnation. Fury is a double striking 5-mana 3/3, which is okay. And the pitch, of course, is a red card. And the effect is, when Fury enters the battlefield, deals 4 damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures or planeswalkers. Very important to note that unlike the white and blue versions, this does not have flash. So, of course, this is an homage to Pyrokinesis, the red member of the Force of Will cycle from Alliances, a card that I have cast many times in Legacy Goblins to great effect. And part of what makes that card so good is being an instant. So, as a sorcery, not as good. Still pretty powerful. Much more of a sideboard card. Whereas, you can build a Grief deck. You can build a deck around Grief. Fury is just not going to be good against many decks, You board sit against Goblins. You board sit against Elves. Things like that. Humans, whatever. The idea is if you can just trade 2 for 2 for no mana, that's a really, really good tempo play. They play Goblin Warchief and Goblin Piledriver or whatever, and you just pitch a red card, cast Fury. Now, you're equal on cards, but you spent 0 mana, and they spent 5 mana or 4 mana or whatever. So, definitely, it can see play for sure. This effect does not exist in Modern. So, it will see play as a sideboard card in scenarios. In a Modern Goblin sideboard, yeah, for sure. This card could definitely see play. I mean, being a sorcery is a big downside, but yeah. So, definitely the most sideboardy of the bunch. Kind of cool. Not really great to cast. I guess if you cast it, it is pretty busted. Just like a Arc Lightning your board, double striker. Busted and limited. Just like a messed up limited card. Probably the best version, the best incarnation, and limited by like a lot. But yeah, more of a sideboard card in Modern. Definitely we'll see play though for sure. Up next is Galvanic Relay. 3 mana for a sorcery. Exile top card of your library. During your next turn, you may play... During your next turn. So not until your next turn. During your next turn. You may play that card, and it's got Storm. Just kidding. This card is pretty wild. So, Storm... Any card that has Storm, just take a second to look at it. Because Storm cards are pretty busted in general. This is a weird one, though, because Storm is obviously a mechanic that wants you to build to critical mass on one turn, right? So you're like, ritual, Past in Flames, Storm, Ritual, whatever. Whereas this card, you go off one turn, you Storm for a bunch, and then you get to cast the spells next turn, which is very much the antithesis of how Storm wants to play typically. Making this a very interesting card, but it's also a Storm card draw spell, which is pretty busted in that way too. So very, very weird card. Like, what do you do with this card? You play a few spells and Storm, and then next turn try and go off. So, I don't know. But it is very powerful. It is a card draw spell. It's in red. You can just like ritual, spell, cast this, and then win next turn. I don't really know exactly, honestly. So, it's a wild card. I'll leave this one to like Caleb Shear and all of them, and they can figure it out. Possible Burning Wish target for Mono Red Legacy Storm? Sure. I think this card will see play, whether it's Pauper, whether it's Legacy, wherever it'll be, this card will see play somewhere, but it is a weird card. Definitely a weird card. Moving on. And limited, I can't really imagine playing this. Actually, I guess it seems good limited, right? You just like play a spell, play this divination for next turn. It's not even that good though. Yeah, it's not that exciting. It'd be hard to play unlimited. Up next is just your old regular Garganon. Get it? Greater Garganon. So, of course, Greater Garganon, one of the most beloved cards from Time Spiral. I freaking love that card. The 9/7 suspend for 1 red. This is a regular old boring Garganon. 7 mana for a 7/5 trample. Suspend for 2 mana. This is a really solid draft card. Suspend 4, it sounds like a lot, but you play this on turn 2. This thing comes down slamming on turn 6. And a 7/5 haste trample is really, really solid. The question being, will there be draft decks that want this? Feels like a synergy format, more about like Madness and Modular and stuff like that. So we'll see. We'll see. It doesn't eat stuff. Yeah, so cute common, hits pretty hard. Not sure if there are decks that will want this card actively, but it's kind of cool. There is a lesser Garganon too, I think, in some set somewhere. Lesser Garganon, I think, but yeah. It is cool for Store Minister. Glimpse of Tomorrow. Hot take, folks. I think this card's kind of wild. Glimpse of Tomorrow. The red entry to the for no mana cost spell cycle things. Suspend 3, red. This is a Warp World. Shuffle all permanents you own into your library. Then reveal that many cards from the top of your library. Put all non-aura permanent cards revealed this way onto the battlefield. Do the same for aura cards. Then put the rest of the bottom of your library in a random order. All right. Warp World. So Warp World. This is the version of Warp World. The free version of Warp World. Warp World was like a 9 mana sorcery. That card saw play across multiple formats. There were decks that played it in Constructed, in US Nationals, in GPs and stuff, at 9 mana. This costs 2 mana, all right? And it's not that difficult to build a deck in Modern that puts a lot of crap in play. 3-Minute Spectre, Gilded Goose, random tokens, whatever it is. And it's also not hard to turn that crap into good stuff, whether it's cycling things or whatever. We could also cascade to this card too. Charlotte's Agent, Blood Braid Elf, which is also pretty busted. There are ways to play large things that cycle, whatever they can go into play. This card is pretty wild for what it does. Could this be a best in show that bombs spectacularly? Yes. This is definitely a best in show that is on potential. Because I think this card could spawn an entirely new archetype and could do some wild stuff. What is that stuff? I'm really not exactly sure. I just know power when I see it. I know potential when I see it. And I think this card has a lot of potential. A lot of potential. Now, of course, obviously it's bad against things like counterspells and stuff like that. But you can build your deck in a way where you can just like not need this card to be good. So you're playing tokens, so on and so forth, etc., etc. So, card's pretty wild. It's very, very cheap for what it does. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. This is probably my most out there best in show for sure. I'm taking a bit of a flyer here, but we'll see. In limited, don't play this card. But you play good stuff too. So like it, I don't know. We'll see. Again, maybe I'm wrong. I don't really know. But yeah, it's certainly it's a red pick. It's a risky pick. I'm going with my red instincts here, and we'll see. Glimpse of Tomorrow. We'll see. Yeah, I saw Ari Lax's article. Ari agrees with me, and Ari's a very smart person. So I most say that I agree with Ari as I saw his article, and I agree with him. But yeah, like Yadaro, like there's plenty of things you can do with this card to like get big things out of it. We'll see. Maybe just a fun card, but we'll see. Moving on. Goblin Trap Runner. 4 mana for a 4/2. Whenever it attacks, flip 3 coins. For each flip you win, create a 1/1 Goblin token that's tapped and attacking. This is a fun draft card. I mean, like, a 4/2 for 4 is not great. If you get, like, 1 or 2 tokens off this, that's pretty good. You get more than that, you're in insanely good shape. So, cool draft card. Not insane. It's a little fragile, but it's a fun card. It's a pretty fun card. I like it. It's a Goblin. Goblins make me happy. Gouged Zealot. 4 mana for a 4/3 reach. Delirium. Whenever it hacks, if there are 4 more card types, Delirium deals 1 damage to each creature defending player controls. It's like your typical 4-drop. Won't often make your deck, but if it does, not so bad kind of draft card. It's just okay. Just okay. Maybe a sideboard card against like decks playing a lot of tokens, but not very exciting. Up next is Harmonic Prodigy. 2 mana for a 1/3 prowess. Pretty good. It's a human and a wizard. Ability of a shaman or another wizard you control triggers. That ability triggers an additional time. This card's pretty good, but my big concern with this card is that when are we playing this card over Dreadhorde Arcanist? A card that doesn't see a ton of play in Modern. You know, triggering abilities is great. You know, so prowess triggers trigger double. That's cool. If it's a wizard, you can trigger Snapcaster Mage twice. That's kind of cool, I guess. But we just like don't know what this card like actually does beyond that. It's a 1/3 by itself. Again, if I'm playing a 1/3, doesn't do anything the turn I cast it for a big upside, I'm probably just playing Dreadhorde Arcanist, right? So like it's kind of weird. You know, Soulscar Mage is a wizard. Swiftspear is not. Luminance triggers twice, sure. Doubles Arcanist trigger. I mean, sure, but like, are you playing 2 Arcanists in your deck? Now you're playing a bunch of 2 mana creatures in your spells deck. You know, so I just don't really see it with this card. I think that the potential's there for sure, but I think there's just other cards that do these things better. And like, if you're playing a prowess deck, you usually focus on killing your opponent. You don't even want to play 2 mana spells. You know, you got to play 1 mana spells and burn spells and Luris. So like, it's fun, it's cool. Yeah, if you just play Sprite Dragon and clear your opponent, please. You know, like, I don't see what deck actually wants this card. It is cool. It's certainly a very cool card. But, what are you gonna do? I don't know. Yeah, and if you're playing it like Nobbin, you know, just to get like wizard triggers or whatever, that's fun, but like probably not like super relevant, you know, as far as like competitive Modern goes. It's cool. It's a fun card. Limited, I mean, if you have wizards, it's probably fine. Dragon Master Outcast double triggers? I mean, yeah, sure. I guess. I think if you're playing this in a aggressive prowess deck, you're just doing it wrong. Like, your goal is just to kill your opponent, not to play a cute card that does nothing until you play it, you know? So, moving on to Kaleido Scorch. This card's so cool. 2 mana, Converge. Deals X damage any target where X is the number of colors of mana spent to cast this. Flashback for 5. So, very, very clever, fun design. Again, mixing 2 keywords together. On the front side, you use, it's basically a Firebolt. You know, 2 mana for 2 damage, anywhere you want. Then if you flash it back, if you have all the colors in the world, you get 5 damage in your flashback, which is pretty cool. You know, Firebolt's not that far off playability. So, really fun card. At instant, this card's a lot better, obviously. Probably not playable constructed in any way at all, but it's a cool card. It's a fun design, cool limited card. It's fun. It's fun. It's pretty cool. Lightning Spear, 2 mana for an equipment. Equip creature gets +1/+0 and trample. You can sack the spear for 3 to bolt something, equip for 1. I mean, it's an okay draft card. It's an artifact for synergies. You can give trample to thing, which is kind of cool. It can be a bolt, like a costly bolt if you need it to be. Just like an okay draft card. Better than sealed. Good sealed card, probably. But Mind Collapse. Instant. 4 mana. If it's your turn, you may sacrifice a mountain rather than play the spell's mana cost. Mind Collapse deals 5 damage to a creature or planeswalker. So, sort of like Fire Blast, but not players. Only on your turn, though. Only on your turn. So, as your opponent's attacking, you can't defend yourself. As opposed to your collapse, yes. Very funny, very funny. So, yeah, great limited card, for sure. This 5 mana, or 4 mana deal instant 5 damage is fine. And then, of course, if you go to attack, you attack them and they play a combat trick, you sack them out and play this for free, but something else really cool. So, very solid draft card. Very solid draft card. If it was at any point sack a mountain to deal 5, I could see this card seeing play in Modern. But probably not a Modern card. Maybe a sideboard card, yeah, against like Tarmogoyfs or Gurmag Anglers at a burn. But like, you might not even kill it anyway. You sacrifice a resource. It's probably just not good enough. But good draft card. Good draft card. Up next is Mount Velis Manticore. 4 mana for a 3/4. Beginning combat your turn, you may discard a card. When you do, it will deal X damage to any target where X is the number of cards types this discarded card has. So good madness enabler. Discard a madness card, play it, which is kind of cool. Do some damage. Just like an okay 4-drop for your madness deck. Not super great. Just like a, whatever. It's an enchantment, which matters for delirium, I suppose. But oh boy. Tron play some Tron lands. Obsidian Charmaw. Red 3. 4/4 Flying Dragon. Comes into play, kill a non-basic. Cost 1 less to cast for each land your opponents control that can produce colorless. This card is the card that's going to make playing Tron very, very difficult. This card's just messed up. Like, this card's basically everything you could ever want against a Tron deck. It's a threat that kills quickly. It actually kills the land, not like Ghost Quarters it. This is just like devastating for a Tron player. This is the most devastating card they printed against Tron in forever. This card is much better than Blood Moon. This is probably the best anti-Tron card in Modern. Period. End of story. Like, you cast it. I guess you can't cast it like turn 3 on the play against them, but oh my god, this card is just unreal. And the thing is, like, by itself, this card is also reasonably playable. Like, a 4/4 dragon for 5, it comes into play and kills a land. It's like honestly close if you're playing like a Ponza deck. So cast turn 3 on the play. Right, on the play. I'm sorry, on the draw, it's not fast enough by itself. Is what I was trying to say. Plays great with Ignoble Hierarch with that. I just hate this card. I hate it. It makes me so angry. I've played Tron a lot, and I've beaten Ponza a lot. I've been Blood Moon, I've been Stone Rained, but this is the card that scares me the most. It's not best at show because like it's only really good against Tron decks. Otherwise, it's just like okay. They should only make it work against Eldrazi Tron. I agree. Like that artifact does, which is terrible. We'll get to that. So, I love Tron. I'm sad. I hate Eldrazi Tron. I love regular Tron. But it's tough. Good against humans? Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of decks in the format that just play lands that tap for colorless incidentally. Cavern of Souls, Field of Ruin, whatever land there is. If this thing comes into play for 4 or 3 mana, it just busted. It just busted. A 4/4 flyer killing a land is just like Avalanche Riders eat your heart out. So this card's wild. It makes me very sad. Yeah, Pain Land reduces this. Inkmoth Nexus. Yeah, I don't know. This is one of the most pushed cards of a set, I think. Yeah. I don't know. I'm sad. And limited, this card's phenomenal. A 4/4 flyer for 5 with upside is great. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm sad. It's more of a sideboard card, but it's a devastating sideboard card. And it's main deckable too. It's main deckable too if you're playing Ponza. So, wild card. Ragavan Nimble Pilferers. Now, of course, everyone's like, Jim, why the hell isn't Ragavan your best in show? Ragavan is really, really good. Don't get me wrong. I was joking with my friend a few days ago that if a Magic R&D person was shown this card 10 years ago, they would have had a heart attack and died on the spot. Like, dead. 10 years ago, they printed the card, oh god, what's it called? Tattermunge Maniac? It was longer than honestly. And it was decreed that Tattermunge Maniac was the correct, you can't say it's too big, was the correct power level for a, too small now? Was the correct power level for a 2 mana, 1 mana 2 power creature. That this was it. This is like the best it can possibly be. Jackal Pup's way too big. Way too good. Way too good. So, seeing this card is just like, what? If you're a boomer. The problem is, what deck actually wants this card? Like, what deck is playing Ragavan? You know, Burn's not playing it because Burn doesn't really care about, like, little advantages here and there. You know, Jund, I mean, maybe. Like, the ability to make treasures is kind of cool. It's a cool card advantage card. But the thing also is, like, now you're stealing their stuff. A lot of decks in Modern don't care about you stealing their stuff because their stuff sucks. You play against Boggles, you steal a Ruined Halo. You play against Tron, you steal a Chromatic Star. You know, you draw a card of it, but sure. You gotta get the idea. You know, where, like, they're just, like, a lot of cards you can take that aren't necessarily good enough. Making a treasure is busted. Don't get me wrong. Really, really good. You can cast Liliana on turn 2 for sure. This card seems a lot better in Legacy than it was, a million years ago. I'm sorry, I was looking at chat and I got distracted. Where, like, you're defending it with days and stuff like that. But it has to hit your opponent in Goblin Lackey style. It's a 2-1, but it's still pretty fragile. And then if it just dies, I think that the dash is really cool. Again, the treasure bar is the best part for sure. No question. So the question is, like, what deck wants this card? Red decks that want to kill you fast don't want this card. I'm not sure it's enough for decks like Jund or whatever. So, like, Zoo just play wild in the cattle. Just want to kill you, So, like, not really sure. This card is very good. I think it's a little overblown. I think it is very good. I'm freaking stoked to play this card in Cube. Because in Cube, like, there aren't decks. It's good in every deck for the most part. Obosh Red, I mean, maybe. It's just, like, I'm just definitely not sure what deck wants this card. That's my biggest concern. Dies to Ren and 6, dies to Lava Dart. It's really good. It's really cool. It just feels to me like one of those cards that's really, really awesome in Cube because it's a good card. It doesn't really have a home, so you don't see it that often in Constructed. It is good Mox Amber. That is true, but Mox Amber is a trap almost most of the time. Anyway. So Luris, sure, it's a cool card. I like it a lot. Again, I'm not saying this card's bad. I'm just best in show. I'm not quite there. Yeah, Ren 6 Lava Dart for sure. It dies to Doom Blade. Yeah, sure. I guess. But not totally sure. How many of his cards do you play? Like, I don't really know. Right. So, definitely not for Burn. Definitely not for Prowess. Those are the prevalent red 1-drop decks. So, we'll see. In Limited, obviously, it's great. Savannah Line's almost there in Limited anyway. So, we'll see. I'm curious to see how this one plays out. Probably the most divisive card in the set. Probably one of the most powerful cards in the set that just not sure where it goes. It's not like super clear. We'll see how it goes. Ragavan, wild card. Wild card. We shall see, folks. We shall see. Modern Pirates. Revolutionist. 6 mana for a 3/3. When it comes into play, return an instant or sorcery card from your hand with Madness. Kind of a cool card for a Madness deck. Yeah, it's an anarchist reference. Exodus, yes, I know the card. Part of the Cartographer cycle. Scrivener, right? Yeah, definitely like okay top end. Pauper, it's pretty expensive on all sides. Madness is great, but 4 mana is a lot. Not super pumped about it. Up next is Scoffs Reaver. 3 mana for a 2/3. As long as it's your turn, it's a 4/3 and Madness 2. And the flavor text is Caps Lock for cool. Cruise Control for cool. It's great. Very solid draft card here. A 4/2 for 3 is aggressively is fine. 2 mana Madness is great. Just solid card. Solid card for sure. Up next, Slag Strider. Red and 5. Affinity for artifacts. 3/3. Pay 1, sack an artifact, deal 1. That's a lot of mana for a pretty small body. If this thing was like a 4/5, it'd be a freaking house. But 3/3 for maybe 4 mana, 3 mana is a lot. And then sack an artifact to deal only 1 is like okay, but I think this card's gonna be a little unimpressive overall. Just like size, not super great for the cost. Obviously, that includes and stuff. It's cool for damage, but only 1 damage. We'll see. Seems like an okay draft card. Spreading Insurrection. 5 mana, Threaten, Storm. Pretty fun card. Pretty fun card. A nod to the card Insurrection, which costs a bajillion. Modular tricks. Yeah, it's cool. Modular. It's very true. It's very true. Insurrection was an 8 mana card that still all your opponent's creatures. This one only steals the ones you target with Storm and stuff. It is you don't control, sure. Kind of fun, kind of amusing, kind of fun. Just have to use Suspend. Give us going unlimited. And yeah, I don't know, just kind of a cute card, whatever. Strike It Rich. 1 red for a sorcery, make a treasure. This card's very, very real. Very real. This is close to Rite of Flame, right? Because Rite of Flame adds 1 extra mana. This is like this is sort of like the nod to all the Simian Spirit Guides Simian Spirit Guide players who are sad their card got banned. Now their red deck can cast Blood Moon on turn 2 again. Can't cast Chalice for 1-on-1, but that's pretty good, honestly. Anything you miss, folks, be on YouTube. All right, anything you miss, be on YouTube. So yeah, this card's super cool. Pretty powerful. Flashback's kind of nice too. More for combo decks and things like that, but definitely a pretty reasonable card here. 1 red for a treasure is very, very reasonable. Think of it as a ritual, kind of stuff like that. Makes an artifact too. Limited, probably not. But in constructed, definitely a card that you could see. Tavern Scoundrel. 2 mana for 1/3. Whenever you win a coin flip, make 2 treasures. Pay 1, sack a permanent, flip a coin. So pretty cute here. You could sacrifice your modular creatures and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. Token synergies. It's kind of cool. Kind of a cool card. It's only a 1/3. You don't like want the treasures and stuff like that. I don't know. Probably it's not that good. Just like it's fun to see a coin flip card that looks kind of reasonable. So I don't know. Whatever. Then we have Unholy Heat. 1 red instant, 2 damage to our creature, Planeswalker. So that's kind of like pretty standard. Delirium, it deals 6 damage. Again, more limited card. I mean, not really good enough for constructed. I mean, I guess like if you are Delirium in constructed, this card compares reasonably to Magmatic Sinkhole, which is kind of cool. So that's pretty cool. You know, so it could see play again if Delirium is a doable thing. But again, problem being, I'm not convinced Delirium is easy enough to actually make it in Modern. So fringy playable, very solid draft card. 6 damage is a lot for 1 mana instant speed, so very solid draft card for sure. Viashano Lava Claw, 2 mana for a 2/2. Tap, discard a card. Creatures you control gain haste on a turn. So kind of a cool madness enabler. Obviously, tap, discard a madness creature, give it haste. That's kind of cool. But the thing is that when it comes to madness, you want to be gaining value off your discard. This doesn't actually gain any material value. So, for example, if your discard is discard a card, draw a card, right? You've turned your madness creature into a cantrip. If the discard is just like a very small effect, doesn't gain you a card, you're just sort of like casting your card for cheaper, which can be fine, but not as exciting at all. So it's like a reasonable 2-drop. Nothing crazy. And then we have our reprint cards, our new to modern cards. Chance Encounter, 4 mana enchantment. If you win a coin flip, put a counter on it. 10 or more luck counters, you win the game. Just a fun build around like ultimate card. I'm sure we'll see Saffron Olive build this card, you know, but pretty amusing. Then we have Flame Rift. The mono red Boros Charm, sort of. Now, I could see it a world where Burn goes to being monocolored, because Boros Charm is like the most important white card they play, aside from Lurrus. Kind of a cool card to have in the format, but obviously a very risky card. Death Shadow could be a thing. The problem is that Shadow decks want to damage themselves, moving to points where you might not be able to cast Flame Rift anymore. So, kind of a cool card to have in the format for sure. But playing both, I can see that as well. This might replace like Skullcrack or whatever and Burn. It is risky if you're playing Eidolon and Fetch Shocks. It's pretty risky, but you know, kind of cool. Kind of a cool card to have access to. Goblin Bombardment. I freaking love this card. I wrote about this card on CoolStuffInc.com. I'm not going to go too far into it because I already wrote like 1,000 words on it. Check it out on Cool Stuff. I will show you the article right here. There you go. Talked about bidding, bombardment, and noble hierarchy. Check the article, coolstuffinc.com. So check it out. I think this card's gonna be very, very cool. Modern, fringe legacy playable card, which is awesome, and real fun one. Really, really cool. Love it. Just love it. Yeah, if this was a tribal enchantment goblin, oh yeah, we'd be doing it, but can't have it all. Then we have Gorilla Shaman, possible hinting they want artifact lands back. 1 mana. This is a Mox Monkey. 1 mana to kill a Mox or things that cost 0. I don't know if it'll do much. It's just kind of a cool card, cool piece of history. The old Mox Monkey. Imperial Recruiter is a huge one. This also could have been close to best in show. This gives humans a Goblination effect, which is pretty powerful. Very powerful with Kiki Jiki, and you can get like Village Bellringer into Kiki Jiki or whatever. You can get things like that. You can flicker it, Feldar Guardian, and so on and so forth. This is powerful. This is a powerful card. Modern doesn't currently have this effect. There are 2 of these in Legacy, but 0 in Modern. This is a good one. I know Pleasant Kenobi's really, really upset that they gave him Imperial Recruiter and not Recruiter the Guard. I'm pretty upset too, honestly. I don't know why this card can't be white, but yeah, very powerful card. We'll definitely see play, whether it's in humans, creature combo. Just a very, very solid card. Very, very solid card. Limited, not as good, but not as good. Mog Salvage, sack, or just free shatter. If they're playing islands, you're playing mountains. Most good artifact decks don't play islands. So you're playing like whatever. I guess like Urza decks do, but it's a cool card. It's not gonna do much probably. Also, hard casting it is a bomb. Is just terribly bad. It's terribly bad. So yeah, Mog Salvage, cool card though. Right? Some Mogs. We love Mogs here, of course. That's red. So there you go. My wildest pick for best in show. We'll see how it turns out. I'm a little iffy on it, but we'll see. Cool art for sure. Cool art. So that's red. YouTube folks, like, comment, subscribe. Please take 10 seconds out of your day. Less than that. Just leave a comment. Let me know what your favorite card is. Let me know what your best in show is. Just interact with the video. It's free. Free way to support me. Super easy. Leave a like. Leave a comment. It's just so easy to do. Just hit the button. Take a second. All my videos. If you love my content, even if you only like my content, please take a second to support me. Hit the buttons on every video. Watch a video. You're done watching it. Hit like. Leave a comment that says, "Hey Jim, you're great," or whatever. Or, "Hey Jim, you smell." I don't really care. It helps out a lot with the algorithm, so I really, really appreciate it. YouTube folks, love you. Look for a green coming up next. Thanks, YouTube. Appreciate it.